Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Malachi Frost and welcome to Jellyfish season. I have no idea what this game is, but judging on the face of this lovely lady here, it has something to do with scary ladies and birds. On the Steam page it says that we are walking along a beach that is covered in jellyfish and we run into a stranger, and that's pretty much all I know. Jellyfish season, duck season, wabbit season, duck season. Nicholas left his scooter on the empty side of the road, at a way down to the sea. The path here was very steep. He fought his way through a heavy thicket, crawled cautiously down the boulders, hanging on to the gnarled roots that stuck out of the ground. Down there he took off his sneakers, threw them to the coastal sand, and rested his hands on his knees. His plump face flushed. His forehead was pouring with sweat. Apparently it was a bit more of a climb than we thought it was. His belly, big enough as it is, inflated so much with each breath that it seemed Nicholas was an air balloon, and that he was about to take off. Alrighty, so we're definitely selling the fact that Nicholas is unfit and the fatty man. That's one way to put it. I don't mean to body shame you, Nicholas. The game is saying it. Nicholas is a little bit overweight. The fatty man was sweating and had still not recovered his breath, but felt fine. Ooh, we're on the beach. Hello, Nicholas. Oh, you don't have any hair. You should at least wear sunscreen or a hat if you're going to the beach. Nicholas, it's the beach. I have to give you a better voice. That's kind of my go-to voice for everyone. It's the beach. That'll do. It's the beach. More like a postcard picture rather than a beach. I come here and it lightens my soul. No worries. He buried his feet in the soft white sand. Just like powdered sugar, except it's not sweet. Nicholas found this place on the third day of his vacation, when he travelled to the southern end of the island, to a fishing village, to take a look at the sea gypsies. The local residents did not make a strong impression on him, though. Nicholas expected to see the wild people of the sea, a land untouched by civilization, but he was greeted by rows and rows of stalls festooned with pearls, shells, and other trifle, and houses with some home satellite antennas and metal roofs. At each doorstep there sat a man or woman. They smoked cigarettes and followed the stranger with their drunken eyes. On his way back, he noticed a sign nailed to a tree. No text, nothing but an arrow inviting him into a dense jungle. The way down, all stones and bushes, would trouble even a young athlete, to say nothing of such a clumsy big man like Nicholas. The almost indistinguishable trail ran along a rocky slope, winding among the trees, disappearing and then reappearing again. Nicholas was even thinking to turn back, but he was too tired to climb back up. Once he almost fell. He stumbled on a root and barely kept his feet so as not to crash down from the cliff. Finally the bushes parted and a tiny bay opened before him, sandwiched between the cast rocks. The sea was glistening not far away, emerald in the shadows and juicy blue in the horizon. The beach was deserted. Nicholas decided that tourists did not come here because they always needed beach chairs, drinks, umbrellas. But here there was just the naked shore, not a single restaurant, and a difficult descent. But that was all he needed. To have a bathe away from prying eyes. Nicholas loved coming here each morning. He undressed, satisfied that no one could look at his body, and rushed into the water, which was as pure as glass. He swam far away and could still see the bottom of the sea through the thick turquoise and coral gardens at the bottom, and elegant fish floating in a dance. He dived and was a guest at his underwater party as long as he had enough air in his lungs. Yesterday, you've changed the spelling of Nicholas there. Nicholas bathed until nightfall and would have bathed all night, but he was stung by a jellyfish. It spreaded its tentacles all across his belly like the lashes of a whip. It burned a lot, but not for long. No big deal, actually. He would not even think of it now. Nicholas had already recovered his breath and was going to take off his clothes, but suddenly saw the same slippery little fellows as the one yesterday. It was washed ashore by a strong wave and was lying at the water's edge, pale and dull, more like a wrinkled plastic bag. Oh, look at him. There you go, you've changed back to this spelling again. Nicholas came over and bent down to take a closer look. The jelly body had not dried out and was almost imperceptibly twitched. Nearby lay another one, transparent too, and another, and yet another, and one more. The whole beach was scattered with jellyfish. There were all kinds of them, hockey puck sized and like an open umbrella, brown with dots of pinkish red. Here comes a blue one. He had never seen those before. Those are the dangerous ones, either blue bottles or man o' wars. Very bad. Nicholas was walking on the wet sand, examining each. Strange creatures. So beautiful and so helpless. Nicholas looked up. Directly above him there stood a cliff, covered with thick woods. The sea licked its smooth boulders. Ooh, sea. Normally it just waves, now it's licking smooth boulders. In the shade of the casuarinas there was a white towel. What the? Nicholas was taken aback. This beach belonged to him right down to the smallest grain of sand. No one else ever showed up here. But today someone came over and spread out a towel on the sand. An open notebook and pen lay on the towel. Nicholas looked around in search of the owner. The sea was deserted. He picked up the notebook, shook the fallen fir needles off. The page was covered with the smooth, beautiful handwriting, like a calligraphy worksheet. Nicholas read a few lines. Poems, in English. He knew nothing about poetry. Among poets he had heard only about Sakharowski and Aino Leno. In addition, he had a poor knowledge of English, but still he had no doubt that he was reading poetry. So this game, I think, was created in Russian, and then they did an English translation. So I'm sure that makes a whole lot more sense in Russian. Written from a girl's perspective, seemingly about death. Is he going to read it to me, or do I read it? Alright, I'm guessing I read it. We are not afraid of death because dying is more painful than death. We are not afraid of ghosts because we always hear footsteps in things, fall randomly and move. We are not afraid of the giant suckers underground because it's just ridiculously. Where is the giant suckers underground? Are we afraid of dogs? We are not afraid of dogs because they are vampires and they know how to talk. We are very boring. And that is indeed a fact, my friend. We are a little afraid of music because it looks scary. We are afraid of the world because the world is like an irritated older brother. Sometimes we are afraid to live. Sometimes we want to stand in front of a mirror and ask, "You're joking, right?" Nope, we're not joking. We're afraid of mirrors. We love spiders. We love ice cream because it makes our kisses sweeter. We also put salt on fruit. First we taste it, and if it needs salt, then we salt it. Is this a recipe or a poem? We love to bang our heads against the table. We are not afraid to love. Love inevitably ends in pain, and we were so often hurt, my friend, that we fell in love with pain. That's definitely a poem. I am gone like a sea wave broken by a breakwater. I am gone like a sea wave broken by a breakwater. I am gone like a sea wave broken by a breakwater. I am gone like a sea wave broken by a breakwater. I am gone like a... Turn the page. Whoa! Hello! Well, what do you think of it? She stood behind him, barefoot in a wet pale blue sleeveless dress. Appeared out of thin air. Tall. Volleyball player, probably. With her blonde hair stuck to her face and her hands covered with goosebumps. Sorry. I did not want... Does that mean I did not mean to? He put the notebook back. He ran his hand over his bald head. She seemed to him very beautiful. Her eyes blue and clear like glass cleaner. Sorry, that's one up from... Her eyes blue like toilet water. Do you always take people's things without asking? No. Sorry. Nicholas looked away. The beach was littered with jellyfish. Poor things, perished under the mercilessly blazing sun. He had never seen so many jellyfish. I must apologize and leave, thought Nicholas. Behind the rock, there is another beach. It's worse than this one, of course. A lot of sharp rocks at the bottom of the sea and the water's not so clear. While here, you can swim very far and still see the fish. Where are you from? Your accent is weird. Finland. You do not sound Finnish in my world. And you? I'm not from here too. She spoke slowly and casually. Australian, suggested Nicholas. At least I'm going to get your accent right. Nicholas sounds Australian too. There are a lot of Australians here. Well, what did you think of my poems? Very beautiful. I used to write a lot when I was a child. Then I stopped, and now started again. That's nothing to sneeze at. It's good. Oh, check out that smile. You're a creepy. Really? I started recently. And how do you like the line about the wave? I am gone like a sea wave broken by the seawater. Not bad, right? It's a beautiful poem. I guess I'll rewrite them. These lines seem to be worse than others. Nicholas kept silent. He was bad at poetry. He stood, fat and sweaty, stroking his bald head, and tried to remember how to say in English, "Thank you so much for the conversation, but unfortunately I have to go. I wish you all the best." Today, this beach was hers. This girl had wonderful blonde hair. They had already dried up. Nicholas was surprised how quickly the day came. But it does not matter. They will never be published. Why's that? You're good. I like your poetry. I know that they'll be published. No, don't say so. They will be published. Do you really not understand? I do not understand. You are a good woman. I have to go. Thank you. Waves kept throwing more jellyfish up onto the shore. Crystal bodies melted on the sand under the crazy sun, and she suddenly sobbed. They won't be published because I am dead. I'm sorry, my English is bad. Come on. Your English is good. Thank you. I understand a little, but I speak it badly. I'm dead. Is she crying? Looks like she's crying. I died a month ago. I fell off the rock. The girl showed the cast cliff hanging over the sea. From there opens a beautiful view. I wanted to see the sea beating against the rocks. There's a viewpoint, but no fences. I stumbled and boom! I slammed down on the bloody stones. Well, they wouldn't have been bloody when you slammed into them. It is sad. You know what's really funny? Now they want to put a fence there so no one else falls down. Well, that's good. No, the funniest of all. I did not even want to be here. Well, I did, of course. I wanted to travel and thought, why not become a volunteer? What? Volunteer. My friend did that. She said she liked it. She taught English in a rural school somewhere in Indonesia. Maybe it was Malaysia. I don't remember, but certainly not here. I speak too fast, don't I? No. Okay. Anyway, I thought I could manage. I thought then that this was my calling, the point of life. I came here and the island is wonderful, all these beach parties, alcohol in buckets and people, especially people. But you know, I don't get on well with children. Why would I think that this was my calling? I don't even like children. Children are strange. You bet. But I am grateful to them, grateful to this place. It was here that I realized I wanted to be a poet. Would I understand what I want from life if I kept on vegetating in Sydney? I wrote poetry as a child, but then I stopped. I'd forgotten how great it was. My only regret is that I died so silly. Yes. He's agreeing with her. But well, that will do too. Being a ghost, I mean. Do you agree? It's quiet, peaceful. Nothing hurts. You are not afraid to die. The only bad thing is they won't publish my poems. I would like to publish a book." She paused, looked at the transparent jelly hills that flooded the shoreline. "You're a good poet." It's time to go, Nicholas thought. He didn't know English well enough to continue this conversation. This is her beach. She writes poetry. She can't be distracted. Besides, the sea is teeming with jellyfish. I should leave her alone. What about you? Who did you want to become? I work in a large company. Manager. No, I'm speaking of another thing. Did you have any passion? Something you really like to do? You don't understand me, do you? How would I explain? This is not work. What possesses you? Maybe swimming? Breeding fish? Do you like to breed fish? Well, certainly not to learn languages. Tree. I loved the tree when I was a boy. Tree? Yes, I loved... He waved his hands. I do not remember the words. Plant trees? To look at trees? To chop them down? You look like a lumberjack. No. Nicholas put forth his hand and began to wave it over his other hand. Knife. Knife, knife. The girl nodded. I understand. Sorry, I don't know how to say it in English. I understand you. As a child, you liked joinery. Any tables, stools, huh? She's asking about your stools. Hey, it's great. Awesome. Nicholas smiled. I saw you yesterday, and before that. You come here every day. Nicholas felt embarrassed and blushed. Yesterday he swam without trunks, convinced that apart from him and sand crabs, there was no one else on the beach. You were stung by a jellyfish. I heard you cry out in the water. It must be very painful. Nicholas shrugged his shoulders. No big deal. At first it burned, but went away quickly. Show me the burn. He said nothing. You hesitate to undress in public, right? You're ashamed of your body? I saw that you have a great body. Come on, please, show me the burn. Nicholas lifted his shirt. Thin markings similar to a red thread crossed his skin from the left side of his body to the navel. Wow. No pain. Nasty creatures, the jellyfish. They are beautiful. Now there are a lot of them here. Poor, weak things. They simply obey the flow, drifting aimlessly in the water and satisfied with what they have. Like many people, though. You are a poet. Maybe you were stung by a sea wasp. They come here from the coast of Australia. These ones, pale blue. In Sydney, I saw a lot of them. Nicholas felt irresistibly drawn to sleep. He didn't have a really good sleep all these days. He went to bed after midnight and got up at dawn, rushing to the beach. The girl sighed and shook her head. Their venom is deadly. It's a pity you had such a stupid death. Excuse me, but I do not understand. Of course, you think I say nonsense. I also didn't realize that I was dead at first. I crashed on the rocks, swam out and thought, my lord, how lucky I am to stay alive. Then they decided to put a fence there to prevent anyone else from crashing down. I have to go, but thanks for the conversation. I saw you sink. You didn't manage to reach the shore. A heart attack, probably. So it is a blue wasp, or a man-o'-war. This is ones that we were warned about when I was just snorkeling off of the Great Barrier Reef the other week. Yeah, these things are very deadly. I thought it was weird that he didn't burn for long. Anyway. Their poison is very fast. Goodbye. It's hard to accept, but I will help you. Stay with me. The whole beach was littered with jellyfish. The girl stared at the fat man. Stop referring to him as the fat man. Nicholas caught in her eyes, kind of painful cheerfulness. He wanted to look away, but he could not. There's that smile again. The girl giggled sheepishly and pulled the strap off the shoulder, and the other too. She took off the dress. The blue cloth fell on the sand. Oh, there's a eye in your what the frick? Hello, belly button eye. Stay with me. Stay. I'm all you need. Stay. Stay. Nicholas stepped back. He was scared. He took another step back. The stranger laughed and followed him. Nicholas turned and ran off with all his might. The trail was incredibly steep. Nicholas climbed the hill, grasping at the roots and branches, sweat dripping from his cheeks. He was climbing up to the wide highway without looking back. His scooter was standing on the edge of the road. Nicholas pulled on his helmet and drove north to the hotel. In his ears, drowning out the whistling wind, ran the sharp girl's laughter. I know we got some beats. Back in his room, the fat man lay down on the bed. He was dying to sleep. This girl is crazy. It seems that her boyfriend left her. You don't know that. He met a girl from the locals, some masseuse, so she went crazy. Apparently he's been talking to the locals, little gossips. Nicholas wasn't a big connoisseur of poetry, but he suspected that poets were sensitive people. I in the navel. Ha ha ha. I definitely need to sleep more. Yeah, you're saying things, buddy. She gonna pop up in my room? Hey, the jellyfish. Hello, little blubby. If you bounce on the top, the jellyfish don't sting you. He dreamt that he was a jellyfish. Nicholas rocked in the water like a silent bell. He wanted to sail far away, but the sea did not let him go. The powerful stream pushed Nicholas to the shore. Under the fierce sun, he went sailing wherever the water told him to. So helpless and so beautiful. Nicholas woke up in agony. The skin on his belly was burning. The day was drawing to a close. One after another, the bars opened. The waiters were sweeping the floors and arranging the chairs. I have to buy ointment for the burns, Nicholas thought. I must find out how to say ointment in English. There you go, ointment. His vacation was ending soon. The day after tomorrow, Nicholas would board the plane to Helsinki. The first thing he would do when he got to the construction market, or maybe even a carpenter shop, and buy some planks, linden or aspen. He would then visit his parents and ask for the keys to the garage, in a dusty corner where his father keeps the old magazines. And a deflated rubber boat, he would find a box with chisels, jigsaws, cutters, and put on the apron. When he was a child, he was very fond of wood carving. It's not too late. I'm alive. I'm alive, aren't I? How lucky I am to stay alive. The end. Alrighty, so that is seemingly the end of Jellyfish season. It is a very well written story. I think they did the jumping between what would be Finnish, because he's from Finland, and English. The language barrier, they wrote that really well. It is a very creepy game. This lovely lady's smile and the eye in the belly button is just creepy. I think there might be more to the game, so I'm going to end this episode here, and then I'm going to play again and see if anything changes. If it does change, obviously there will be a second episode. If it doesn't change, we can just take this video for what it is, a little expose into the creepy mind of the people who created this game, and some lovely poetry. So for right now, if you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up, leave any comments or suggestions down in the comments section. For right now, have a good day, have a good life, and I'll catch you all down the road.